Hello guys, this is the Golden Pretty. We're here for another deck profile for you today. Um, Sorry I'm not pulling so much. I have been thinking about, is this because mostly because of my job? Because it's so unpredictable? But there's gonna be some changes going around, so hopefully, if it turns out alright, I might be starting to get a pretty stable schedule, and so that way I can actually do a lot more content for you guys. So anyway, on to the deck profile. I got a question for you guys. What do you get when you if you mix in light with dark? Well, obviously it's going to be the void right between the lines. But if you put them together in a card game, you actually get a pretty good combination. Yes, this is an, if the title doesn't say it already, this is a alter ego Messiah deck profile with deleters. I've been hearing this thing's actually a pretty standard build. It used to been alter ego with a weird build. I had two imaginary planes and two lady gunners, and it didn't really. It was actually pretty good up until I had a couple of games where I had to ride into lady gunner, and it just pretty much blowed on from there on. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and just do this. I was really mad at that. I did a couple of testings and I actually loved this so far. Like, it just makes so much balance, and I actually do like balance. So thumbs up. So anyway, let's start with the grade threes. It's mostly pretty standard. I got 4 alter egos and 4 Juxtapose Deletor, Zaele. Zaele is pretty much the most malleable one because the other deleters have to have a specific counterblast. And I'm just going to be honest with you, there really isn't too much deleters that can actually be pretty malleable for this deck. I mean, you could put in a lot of triggers and put in Jail with it and such, or either that or like one of those, the new ones the new deleters that are coming out. There is a couple of grade 2s that I was actually looking at. I don't know their names, but I would put it up right there. I know one of their abilities is pretty much you can pretty much bash delete one of them, and you can actually get a good column, like 11k columns from there. But outside of that, it's actually doing pretty well just with this set alone. So he probably might be staying there and probably not get too much changes on the grade 3 lineup. Well, I did. Okay, here's a funny story. When I was playtesting this, apparently I dropped one of the Zaeles, so I did a quick replace for the Lady Gunner, and it actually worked not too bad. I might be thinking about replacing one of these Zaeles with the Lady Gunner, but who knows? I actually do have another good placement. I actually locked the cards, locked the target cards for me, which we're going to go into that right now. For my grade 2 lineup, since I'm running Zaele, I can't really do much with it without the Gaele. 3 of them is pretty good enough. 4 of them is pretty cumbersome, and 2, it could be rather tricky to do, since 4 and 2 is actually a pretty tricky number to do, because you might be damage check one of these, and then one of them belongs at your hand and such. So yeah, you get to run into those kind of situations. So 3 is good enough. That, and it's a free lock one if you delete your opponent's Vanguard, which is also nice. Alright, the next, these are the one. This is probably one of my MVPs in the entire deck. It is 3 Lady Battle Arrow to Gravity Well. What she does is, when she has an act phase, once per turn, I can lock a card and she gains plus 4k. That's pretty simple. Just lock a card. Lock one of your cards, and You get a plus 4K. And there is a couple of them that actually get a good benefit off of that. My rest of the grade 2s would consist of 3 Duskblades because, well, it's a pretty much a good Amber clone on its own. And 2 Blast Monks. Now, people may argue you can probably throw away one of the Duskblades for him, but I don't know, like, I don't really see me actually doing too much unlocking with this guy. So yeah, it's not that. So 2's perfectly enough. And yeah, that's pretty much the grade 2 lineup. Now for the grade 1s, most of it is pretty self-explanatory. Can't do without four new perfect guards. It's actually really mandatory. And usually, if you saw my other deck profiles, I usually argue that a reason why I want to run original perfect guards because of lower 1DX. Okay. But now I feel more comfortable to doing this because 1, locks shut down Laurel. So that's one problem out of the way. And secondly, the X isn't really that prominent, but he's still out there. But if he is, I don't mind him like plus two to be honest, because I'm gonna be drawing so much. Like I could get at least a 10 card hand to actually recover from his little damage thing. And yeah, that, and he's kind of slow when due to filtering. So if it hit to the late game, yeah. All right, then I have 3 Dark Metal Chameleons, pretty much the MVP outside of late battle or the gravity well. Pretty much your main strategy for that. Pretty simple. You use Alter Ego or somebody else to actually lock one of them, and if they get unlocked, you inflict the damage, making some of your cards basically free. So there really isn't too much about that. So those 2 cards are pretty much your main enablers for that. And I run 3 stride enablers. Now I could run 4 since this thing has a really stride reliant deck. But the starter, it actually makes up for one of the slots. Right, so I can actually make room for like a 1 or -1 or 2, just for it to kind of fill in the other holes that this deck actually has somewhat of a balance. I don't know what the heck am I saying. Somewhat of a pressure, and also it's the main thing I want to do with this deck. Alright, so my rest of my cards are 2 Palladiums and 2 Volt Lines. These things, I'm going to be honest with you, it could be changed a little bit, but Palladium, he's actually really good because it actually feels what I would like to do for this deck. And that is basically draw. That's basically to pretty much get a consistent style to actually do Alter Ego's GB2 skill, which is pretty much Soul Blast 1 to draw a card. And I can just relock it just because of Palladium. Now, that makes me also think, like, I did a couple of testings with Boltline. He's not too bad in some sense, but at the same time it actually slows down what it's supposed to be for my deck. But hey, I don't really mind it too much. Like, this is perfectly fine for me. But if I would like to make a change for it, I could probably replace 1 Volt Line for another Stride Neighbor and the other one for the Palladium. And just basically go at it like that. But I don't think I'm going to be doing too much counterblast anyway, because your early stride, you're going to be going through at least 2 to 3 counterblasts. I'm just telling you that right now. Alright, so last but not least, we're going to go... Actually, let's go for my starter first. The reason why I have 3 stride neighbors is because I run Zaele. it just gives me a free second stride into anything that I want out of the stride deck, which I'll be showing later on. Now, people argue that that one butterfly dude, the Spiral Nebula, is actually the other good option. I would have to agree with that. That's actually a really good option, but since this thing is so stride reliant, I gotta have to go for Neon Messiah. That, and if he gets blown up, hey, it's not the end of the world. So for my triggers, I run 6 crit, 3 stands, 3 draws, and 4 heals. Alright, so immediately you guys are looking at this card right here. It basically acts like a Palladium in some sense. Like relocking the card to also abuse Alter Ego's little ability and such. Like, Alter Ego's ability, it acts almost like a Chaos Breaker. You can actually relock the card and then so blast it to draw a card anyway. That's actually a really good plus. Now, you may be arguing, like, well, how come I'm not running 4 stands instead of that? I still like the draws. I still like the draws very well. But, I'm just going to say this right now. If the new crits come out, you know, like that little put into the soul if you have Alter Ego out there, draw a card, plus 5k, blah blah blah. When that comes out, I think I might -1 draw for another stand. I really don't know. To be perfectly honest, but this is actually a pretty good lineup for me because it actually provides what I actually do need for the deck. So yeah. Now people say like 8 crits, 4 draws is actually pretty good as well. I have to agree with that. Or 8 crits, 4 stands, and 4 stands being Dysprosium. I would like to try that out as well. But right now, this lineup's actually pretty good. Alright. Now what we've been waiting for, it is going to be my strides for this deck. The one thing that will keep this deck rolling. Firstly, let's go with what my Alter Ego really needs. Blizza. That early turn unlock GB2 skill is so potent that I would considerably argue is probably one of the best uses for Blizza in the entire game. Next to probably for Darkface to actually get his early Soul Blast too, but that's barely relevant. Alright, so for the others, I'm sorry if I don't have much things in it, but I'm gonna decide. I saw one card that came out. It was called Excelics Saya. I'll probably put it up right here. What it does is, it's just basically, here. Actually, here. I have one Amnesty Messiah. Originally, it was going to be 2, but then it changed to 1. But now, for a fact, I'm going to be putting 1 more because of one card called Excelics Messiah. That card is actually a really better version of him because it gives plus 3k for the 1 steal unlock, have a Chaos Breaker skill on top of that, and get a critical. Not too bad. Alright. Anyway, I also have 2 big crunch. Now, people may argue, like, get 4 big crunches. I'm going to be saying this right now. Right now, 2 is actually perfect for this thing, especially if I'm going to be trying to fit in Excelics, which these 2 Nebula, these 2 maximum seals are going to be just that. You know, 1 Messiah, 1 Excelics. And what are you saying for the rest? Well, that's pretty much up for debate. At my point of view, I want to run 2 Judgement Dragons. Now, you can say I can actually run 1 Judgement, 1 one maximum seal to actually have a little bit of more options to work with, which I will have to agree with. I actually do like more options. More options with this deck. This deck is actually a really good toolbox. But right now, since I don't have too much options to work with, 2 Judgments is perfectly fine. Two maximum seals. I'm still gonna be looking for the last one. Please help me for the Link Joker Donation Foundation. Please, I want an Amnesty. Seriously, like, I can't find it. But yeah, that's pretty much all. Pretty much my starting lineup. My final starting lineup, when it gets done, 2 Amnesties, 1 Excelics. This one's perfectly up for debate. 2 Big Crunch, and a Blizza. And that's pretty much my little deck profile. For you guys. If you guys like it, please. If you like this thing, please comment about it. If you got any more opinions, I'd be glad to actually talk to you about it. And I will see you guys later. Bye.